Watching News X. My name is Vineet Malhotra. You are now going to be watching a special series of News X, a special series in the second wave, which is called Superheroes, and special series on people who have done a commendable job when it comes to helping India out. The News X special series, second wave Superheroes, we have recognized individuals and organizations who stepped up to help others as India battles the COVID-19 pandemic. Our first guest is Payal Baluja, who runs an all-women NGO that provides food to around 200 COVID patients on a daily basis. Listen in.
Payal Baluja is the president of the NGO Ehsaas. With around 10 volunteers, the all-female team has provided selfless service during the pandemic. Their main aim is to provide free home-cooked meals for COVID patients. They want to ensure that food is something that the patients don't need to worry about. The NGO prepares around 200 meals every day. Payal and her team start their food drive early and end by 4 p.m. NewsX proudly recognizes second wave superhero Payal Baluja. Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I'm Marti Krishnan. I have with me Payal Baluja on today's episode of the second wave superheroes. Payal is the president of Ehsaas, which is an NGO, and they have been working to distribute free food. And they have been working to distribute free food for hospitals like Lady Harding Hospital and for COVID-19 patients. Payal, thank you for joining us today. Please tell us about the work you do at Ehsaas.
Actually, in our Ehsaas NGO, from the very first day of lockdown, you can say that April mid, हम तभी से डेली फूड सप्लाई करते हैं. डेली हम बनाते हैं 200 to 250 पीपल्स का फूड डेली हमारी एनजीओ डेली मेक करती है. अलग अलग हॉस्पिटल्स में हम देते हैं. आरएमएल हॉस्पिटल, जीटीबी हॉस्पिटल, जितने भी पेशेंट्स होते हैं या पेशेंट के रिलेटिव्स होते हैं उन्हें हम फ्री डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते हैं. दिल्ली एनसीआर के जितने भी हॉस्पिटल्स हैं.
और क्या क्या चैलेंजेस फेस करते हैं आप जब फूड डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते हैं?
मैम, चैलेंजेस तो काफी आते हैं. कई जगह पर हमें जाने नहीं देते कि ये कोविड एरिया है, रेस्ट्रिक्टेड एरिया है, सो प्लीज डोंट गो. पर हम उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि सर हम प्रॉपर यूनिफॉर्म में हैं, हमने पूरा प्रिकॉशंस ले रखे हैं, तो हम तब जा सकते हैं. तो बहुत लोग परेशान हैं इस समय. किसी के पास कोई चीज की कमी है, किसी के पास कुछ कमी है, तो हमारी तरफ से हमारा बेस्ट रहता है कि एटलीस्ट उनको फूड की कमी ना आए. तो अलग अलग हॉस्पिटल्स में हमने यही देखा है कि बहुत लोग परेशान है. इवन डेली ड्यूटीज देते हैं पुलिस वाले, कुछ गार्ड, सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स, कुछ डॉक्टर्स, वो भी बहुत परेशान है.
और एहसास में कितने वॉलंटियर्स हैं और क्या ये रोज काम करते हैं?
मैं सास में वॉलंटियर्स है 10 to 12 गर्ल्स. सिर्फ गर्ल्स ही है हमारी एनजीओ में फ्रॉम फर्स्ट डे. देयर इज नो एनी बॉयज. तो कभी कभी जब भी खाना बनता है, अप्रॉक्स हमारा एक वीक में 5 दिन खाना जरूर बनता है. तो उस दिन कभी किसी गर्ल्स की ड्यूटी लगती है, कभी किसी गर्ल्स की, कि हाँ बनाएंगे भी हम और पैकिंग भी हम करेंगे और फिर उसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट भी हम करेंगे. तीनों चीजें हमारी थ्रू रहती है.
अच्छा, हमें बताइए पायल जी कि एक दिन में आप क्या क्या करते हैं और क्या क्या सर्विस करते हैं आप एक दिन में?
मैम, जैसे मॉर्निंग में आना है, हमने 9:30 के अराउंड हमने मॉर्निंग में आ जाना है. तभी हमने खाना बनाना शुरू करना है. 250 से 300 रोटी, सब्जी, फिर उसको लेकर आना, वॉश करना, प्रॉपर सब कुछ रेडी होने में 1 से 1.5 का टाइम लग जाता है. फिर हम 1:30 बजे हमारी फूड ड्राइव स्टार्ट होती है. अलग अलग हॉस्पिटल्स में जहां जहां हमें कुछ कुछ लोग दिखते हैं कि हाँ यहाँ दिक्कत है, यहाँ हम 50 बॉक्सेस दे दें, हम उन्हें अपने खुद से ही देते हैं कि आप खा लीजिए, पानी वगैरह सब कुछ, कि आप परेशान मत होइए. तो हमारा फूड ड्राइव कंप्लीट होते तो 4 बज जाते हैं.
तो पायल जी बताइए, क्या आप कौन से सर्विसेज करते हैं अपार्ट फ्रॉम डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग फूड? क्या आप मेडिसिन में एड करते हैं, ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर्स में एड करते हैं?
मैम, हमारी एनजीओ के साथ कुछ एसोसिएट मेंबर्स हैं, कुछ 300 to 400. उन सभी मेंबर्स ने हमें कहा था कि अगर ऑक्सीजन केन का या किसी भी चीज का नीड हो तो हमें बताइए. कुछ पेशेंट्स ऐसे हैं जिनको हमने घर जाकर केन प्रोवाइड करवाया. मेडिसिन तो नहीं करवा पाए अरेंज, क्योंकि वो आप एज यू नो एवरीवन नोज कि उसके रेंज काफी हाई थे इस समय। कई जगह पर थोड़ी ब्लैक में थी तो कई जगह पर थोड़ी शॉर्टेज थी। उसके अलावा हमारी एनजीओ ने कुछ ग्रुप्स ज्वाइन करे हैं दिल्ली एनसीआर के, जिसमें प्लाज्मा डोनर्स हैं, प्लाज्मा के लिए डिमांड्स हैं। तो अलग अलग तरीके के हमने कुछ प्लाज्मा डोनर्स को कलेक्ट करा, हमने वो लोगों को प्रोवाइड करवाए। एक एक दिन में हमने 400-500 कॉल्स करी कि जिनको प्लाज्मा, जो रिकवर्ड पेशेंट्स थे उनसे हम बात कर सके, उन्हें कन्विंस कर सके कि आप अपना प्लाज्मा डोनेट करिए। तो इस तरीके की भी हमने हेल्प करी। इसके अलावा कुछ फैमिलीज है, कुछ स्लम्स है, जैसे शादरा, मानसरोवर गार्डन, दिलशाद गार्डन, वहां के स्लम्स को हम इस समय किट भी दिया, राशन किट, जिसमें हमने 5 किलो आटा, चावल, चीनी, कुछ प्रकार के दालें, सूखे मसाले, तेल, ये सब भी प्रोवाइड करा। अराउंड 70 से 75 फैमिलीज है जिनको अभी तक हम दे चुके हैं।
पायल जी, क्या आप फंड्स कैसे मैनेज करते हैं और सब्जियां खरीदने के लिए फंड्स कैसे मैनेज करते हैं? क्या आप डोनेशंस लेते हैं?
मैम डोनेशंस लेते तो नहीं, तो कुछ मेंबर्स हमारे साथ एसोसिएट हैं कि क्योंकि इसके अलावा हमारे 3 स्कूल चलते हैं फ्रॉम 2013 टिल नाउ 2021 तक। हमारे 3 स्कूल है जहां हम फ्री एजुकेशन देते हैं। तो कुछ मेंबर्स ऐसे कनेक्टेड हैं जो हमें मटेरियल देते हैं कि कभी स्टेशनरी, कभी किसी ने कुछ दे दिया, तो इस तरीके से हम मैनेज कर लेते हैं। स्कूल्स हमारे लाइव क्लासेस लगते हैं किसी भी पार्क में, किसी भी मेट्रो स्टेशन के पास में, इस तरीके से। तो वही मेंबर्स ही है जो कभी कुछ राशन दे देते हैं, कभी कुछ वेजिटेबल्स, कुछ ऑयल दे देते हैं, कुछ हम 8-10 जो गर्ल्स हैं हम अपने अपने घर से मैनेज कर लेते हैं।
और आप और आपके एनजीओ एहसास में कैसे, मतलब आपको कैसे ये थॉट आया कि आप अभी फूड फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट कोविड पेशेंट्स को देंगे?
मैम एक्चुअली हमारी संस्था ने जब हॉस्पिटल्स में जाकर देखा, हम जब फर्स्ट डे था हमारा लॉकडाउन का, तब मैंने हॉस्पिटल्स में जाकर स्पेशली देखा कि किस चीज की कमी है जिसको हमारी संस्था कंप्लीट कर सकती है। सिर्फ उसी चीज की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ले, कुछ ऐसा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ना ले कि जिससे हमें ये लगे कि नहीं हम ये कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो मुझे लगा कि एटलीस्ट उनके फूड में बच जाए टाइम, क्योंकि अब इस तरीके से वो मेंटली डिस्टर्ब है कि वो ना घर जाकर बना सकते हैं, ना ही मार्केट से परचेज करने की इस समय उनकी कंडीशन है। तो हम सोचते हैं कि उनको एटलीस्ट वो खाना जाए जो घर का बना हुआ हो। इसके अलावा कुछ कोविड पेशेंट्स भी हैं जिनके घर पर हमारी संस्था होम डिलीवरी करवाती है कि आप घर पर रहिए, हमें फोन कर दीजिए, हम आपके घर में मॉर्निंग, आफ्टरनून, डिनर तीनों टाइम का खाना हमारी संस्था भेजेगी। कुछ 40 to 45 पेशेंट्स हमारे साथ ऐसे एसोसिएट हैं जिन्हें हमारी संस्था से तीनों टाइम का खाना बनकर जाता है।
पायल जी, आपकी अपील क्या है? जो पब्लिक है, जो भी लोग ये इंटरव्यू देख रहे हैं, उनसे आपकी अपील क्या है?
मैम मेरी हाथ जोड़कर उनसे बस एक छोटी सी अपील होगी कि जितना भी हमसे सहयोग बन पाए हम उतना करें। चाहे हमें अपने घर से करना पड़े, चाहे फिजिकली, चाहे मेंटली, उन लोगों को हमें सपोर्ट करना चाहिए जो आज इस बीमारी की वजह से बहुत परेशान है। चाहे उनके घर का किसी का सदस्य इस कोविड की वजह से शहीद हुआ, या किसी कारण से वो हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड है, या कहीं कुछ खाना नहीं बना पा रहे, किसी भी तरीके से हमारी तरफ से बस एक यही अपील होनी चाहिए कि हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा उनको सहयोग दे पाए।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए पायल जी। थैंक यू फॉर योर सर्विस टू सोसाइटी।
थैंक यू मैम।
थैंक यू जी।
Then our next guest is Neera Kapoor, who with her residential team helped in arranging food, medicines to setting up isolating rooms in a nearby hotel for COVID positive residents in her society. Listen in.
The devastating second wave of COVID-19 witnessed communities stand strong together in the face of all odds. When times were tough and our health infrastructure was overburdened, multiple people took on the role of providers and caregivers to help those in need. One such team emerged from a residential block in Gurgaon, Haryana. A key member of the team, Neera Kapoor, helped residents access everything they needed during their COVID journey: food, oxygen, medical supplies, and hospital beds. The team procured all essentials that were needed by COVID-positive residents in the colony. The team also set up isolation rooms in a nearby hotel to help COVID-positive patients isolate away from their families. An on-call doctor was also arranged by the team to provide online consultancy to residents recovering from COVID-19 at their homes. NewsX proudly recognizes second wave superhero Neera Kapoor and her team.
Neera, Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, and a very warm welcome to NewsX.
Hi, Paridhi. Good morning. Thank you for calling me here, and I'll be happy to share my thoughts on the topic questions that you ask.
All right. Neera, firstly, if you could just quickly help me by explaining to us what exactly your initiative was and how is it that you started helping people? What was the tipping point that made you say, you know what, we've had enough and I need to step in now?
Okay. So initially, when during the second wave of coronavirus, we had a contractor in our society who became C positive, and he was in need of a hospital bed. So a message was flashed on the group that a person named Rajat, who has been a contractor in our society since the last 20 years, and I think every resident of our society has got his or her home built from him. So at that time, they wanted a few of the people who were, doing this initiative, they wanted contribution from the residents. And that's when I pitched in. And because, there were so many cases happening all over India. There was paucity of beds. People were, scrambling here and there to get either oxygen. And the second wave was actually very bad. That's the time when there were 2 or 3 people in our society when I joined hands with them and I said, okay, I'll be also a part of this initiative and try to help people who are suffering the second wave of coronavirus. And that's how, everything started. So initially we helped one person, but then when, we started taking baby steps and of course, bigger steps forward, then we thought of building a COVID warrior team of about 5 to 6 people, wherein we build an agenda and we wanted people of our society to know that if initial care is taken when a person is tested positive, then we could avoid hospitalization. And that is how we drew a flow chart on what all things need to be done so that the residents are safe and, we used to touch base with the residents on daily basis to check on whether they need anything or if anyone is having fever. So we would, tell them to consult a doctor. So we had medicines, we bought medicines, had a repository of medicines. Then we took 2 doctors on board so that if any resident feels uncomfortable or has fever, they could do an online consultation, a video consultation, or a general telephonic call with the doctor. We started procuring oxygen cylinders. Of course, we have to, we did not hoard them, which was illegal. So getting oxygen cylinders was again a very huge task. But a big thanks to my team members who, with umpteen number of
How difficult was it, Neera? Sorry for interrupting. If you could just help us understand, medicines, oxygen, beds. There was absolutely no way to go out there, make a phone call and say, you know what, I need an oxygen cylinder. It was just impossible. How exactly did you guys navigate through, that sea of requests and that sea of people clamoring for these, basic amenities?
It was really very difficult, but thanks to, as all of us as a team, we really, we procured oxygen from the factory where the oxygen cylinders were, the oxygen cylinders were being filled up. So we hired a driver, we hired a taxi driver who was reliable. We gave him the cylinders and we told him to get him filled up. The person was there for the entire day to get 2 cylinders filled up. It was such a gargantuan task, getting cylinders filled and buying oxygen, which is naturally available. But we wanted to make sure that if any of our residents is in need of oxygen at night, then we should have those cylinders with us. And fortunately or unfortunately, those cylinders were used by one of the residents. And, that gave us satisfaction. Okay, we did a lot of hard work in procuring that. And at least we were able to save someone's life. Getting medicines, yes, it was difficult, but we touched base with a wholesale dealer and he was very nice. We just gave him a list of medicines and he got all the medicines home delivered. And now we have a good, collection of all the basic medicines which are required for COVID-19.
All right. Neera, if you can also help me understand, of course, now societies have multiple people. There are different families. In fact, if let's say somebody in a family turns COVID positive and they're in need of, isolation. Not all houses have, the luxury of having 3 rooms or 4 rooms. Was there a certain isolation center or like an isolation ward that you tried to create And did you face any red tapeism? Because from our conversation earlier, I did understand that you were not able to go ahead and set that up. What were the challenges that you faced?
Okay, red tapeism, no, for sure. Yes, the challenge that we faced for setting up the isolation center was the society wherein we live. It does not have a common community center or a common community hall or a clubhouse, as you can say, where the quarantine facilities could be set up. And as per the ministry guidelines, the isolation centers should have a separate entry or an exit. It should have proper ventilation. Then we need to have proper staff, then disposal of biomedical waste. And, there are a couple of things which had to be adhered to if we follow the guidelines of the ministry. And that was the reason we were not able to set up a quarantine center within the society. But yes, we did have a word with a couple of guest houses, which are a few meters away from our society. And we did tie up with them so that in case someone needs an isolation facility, we are able to shift that person to the guest house at a reasonable cost. I completely agree with you that because of paucity of space, everyone is not able to quarantine at home.
Correct. All right. Neera, now, a sad reality that the second wave has gotten to light has, in fact, etched in stone is that we're going to lose some and we're going to save some. It's just the sad reality of things at this point. While helping people, I'm sure you also made emotional connections with them. How difficult has it been, to lose people that you were helping and, that you were trying to save?
It's very, disheartening when you lose someone, especially when we lost the first person we tried to help. We lost him. He was not able to survive COVID. It was really very difficult. And probably, but that also motivated us that we should help the other people. And that was a stepping stone, wherein we pitched in to help all the residents. And a small incident wherein there is a family in our society, we are helping them. I mean, every day I text that lady, morning, afternoon, evening, though I have never talked to her in the last 15 years. But, just that little emotional connect that the entire family is down with COVID-19. Their child is sick with blood cancer and he's staying alone. I mean, that really hurt me very emotionally. And I went out of the way to help that family, to give them emotional support, kind of physical support required, whether getting them the delivery of medicines or food. In fact, even I sent them home cooked food from my home so that they were able to get nutritious food. And day in, day out, every day I give them at least 5 calls just to motivate them. Everything would be fine. Everything will be fine. You will have to. This phase will pass soon. I mean, that family is in my thoughts throughout the day. I discuss it with my own family members. I discuss it with my friends. And you have an emotional connect once you start helping an outsider, I think.
People. Yeah.
But it gives me satisfaction when I help people out.
All right, Neera, now it of course takes a certain sense of empathy, a certain sense of sensitivity and psychological willpower to be able to do what you're doing. And kudos to you, Neera. More power to you. Go ahead, help as many people as you can. And we right here on NewsX want to thank you on behalf of all the people that you've helped, and in fact on behalf of all of India. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling me on the show. Thanks.
Right, and when most hospitals were gripped with overwhelming COVID patients and were running out of resources, our last guest for the day, Prejo TJ, helped COVID patients in sourcing medicines, hospital beds, oxygen concentrators, and also raised funding via social media for the cause. Listen in.
Prejo began volunteering last year to help COVID patients with their various needs. He helps COVID patients with funds for medicines, getting admission in hospitals, food, and many such requirements. Prejo has raised 20 lakh rupees so far for his cause by taking donations through social media. With the funding, he has arranged oxygen concentrators for hospitals and NGOs. He has also helped people with hospitalization when there was no ambulance service available. NewsX proudly recognizes second wave superhero Prejo TJ.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX. I'm Aarti Krishnan. On today's episode of Second Wave Superheroes, I have with me Prejo TJ, who is a volunteer who goes ahead and helps people who are fighting COVID. He helps them at finding beds, oxygen. He helps give people resources, provides food for COVID patients, and helps them with admission process for hospitals and a lot more. Let's hear from him. Prejo, tell us about the service you do and the work you do on a daily basis.
So I've been helping people the second wave, mostly with the medical emergencies. So I started this last month, 23rd. And it started with helping people with bed availability. That's where it started. And then slowly it went on to helping people to get remdesivir. There was a whole lot of drama happened here in Chennai to get remdesivir. So, standing in the queue for almost 14 hours and getting remdesivir for people like, pregnant women or senior citizens and mothers with infants. So I was started helping these people to stand in the queue and get remdesivir. And then slowly also I started helping people with regards to those who cannot afford to buy remdesivir, helping with the costs, the expenses of it, and then taking care of admission process. So many of these patients and family, they go through a lot of panic and trauma and stress. They don't know what to do. There's a huge queue to get the bed at the outside hospital. So I kind of take care of the process, be with them, be like a moral support, do all the conversations, interactions with the hospital to get the bed. So help them with the process. And also for those who cannot afford, taking care of the hospitalization bills and charges. And if there's a death, okay, I mean, unfortunately, there's a death, again, taking care of that, those formalities, those process, what has to be done, what documents required. So entire thing I've been taking care of. And I've also been raising a lot of funds to help people. So that's how I was able to help people to get either remdesivir medicine or any medicines, or even take care of the hospitalization charges. And now I'm also buying concentrators, oxygen concentrators, getting that and giving to different hospitals where they are in need of oxygen, because there's a huge shortage of oxygen in Chennai. By giving oxygen concentrators, the liquid medical oxygen and the decylinder oxygen can be used for the ICU and ventilator cases, and oxygen concentrator can be used for the non-ICU cases. So that's kind of stabilize the whole scenario, and also the hospitals can take in more patients. So these are different things I've been doing since last month, 23rd.
Right. Also, you said that you were raising funds. So do you raise funds through social media, or how do you go about it?
So completely on Instagram. I've been putting up stories and pictures and posts on Instagram. So thankfully, a lot of people have been contributing left, right, center. So I did a lot of COVID work last year as well. So I think because of that trust and experience, people have been contributing. And many celebrities from Chennai also been helping. Like, for example, Pradeep Kumar, who's a singer in Chennai, he went on Twitter. He sang for almost 5 hours, talking about this issue and highlighting it, and he was also raising funds. So likewise, quite a few celebrities have pitched in also to raise funds and to contribute. Otherwise, completely only on Instagram and Twitter, no payment platform. And as of now, I've raised about almost 20 lakhs, and with that, have given about 30 concentrators, oxygen concentrators for hospitals and NGOs, and also have taken care of hospitalization charges and medicine charges for those who cannot afford. And
Right.
this pure happened because of all those people who've been contributing across India and from other countries.
Right. Could you also take us through your day and tell us what it typically looks like?
Typically, it looks like the emergency calls start as early as 6:37 in the morning. So as soon as I get the call, I find out where the bed availability is. Now, many times you cannot really completely trust the link, the websites, the links, or whatever information available, because, for example, if I find information that bed availability is there right now, 5 minutes later it becomes outdated, because that's the kind of need right now. That's the kind of or the number of people waiting outside the hospital to get a bed. So you cannot completely rely on the information which is there on links or websites or the helpline numbers or the volunteer group information. I mean, they all are trying to do their best. It's just that information, it's changing by the minute. Okay, so one has to really go to the hospital to find out whether a bed is there or not. So that is how I started going to different hospitals to find out where there are beds and is it really there. So multiple visits to these hospitals, have some kind of interaction. I'm able to help people. So I immediately, as soon as I get the calls, I step out, I go to different hospitals, find out where there are beds. And based on that, I help that family to get the ambulance and come to that particular hospital, because there's no point, the patient or the family, they leave their homes in the ambulance, and no point going from one place to another place, no point hopping from one hospital to another hospital. And because of oxygen crisis, again, not all the ambulances have complete oxygen also. There are many cases where, patients have died because there are no oxygen ambulance, or people have been waiting outside the hospitals and the condition really worsened and they've died. So the whole idea was how to help in that process, how to ensure I can easily find the bed, by checking in person, not via links or not via phone calls, because hospitals also stopped taking the calls. Right, they were getting way too many calls. Different people are calling right center, so they stopped taking calls. So that is why in-person confirmation is a solid lead, solid information. So that's what I was doing, and also helping them, because they go through a lot of panic and trauma and stress. They don't know what to do. They're not thinking straight. So just being there and helping them the entire process. So that I do, and if in case I also get calls where I've been asked to pick patients because they don't have ambulance. So with my car, I go, and that's the car. So everything, I've been doing it with this car, be it taking concentrators, be it picking up patients. Whenever there's no ambulance, I pick patient, I go drop them. And there are cases where I go, deliver cooked food for quarantine patients. See, bed availability, oxygen crisis is the first top issue. But once a patient gets admitted in the hospital, they have been isolated from everybody.
Right. Thank you so much for the service you do, Prejo. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Aarti. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.